bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
The Imperatosuchus is the latest apex creature created in the mobile app game Jurassic World Alive as a raid boss. It also made an appearance as a boss in Jurassic World the game, making it the first Jurassic World Alive boss to do so. Little is known about this crocodilian except for the fact that its color can completely blend in with the murky swamps covered in algae, mud, and parasites. They say that even touching the Imperatosuchus's dorsal scales can cause infection. But how was this creature created? What are its components? Here's a theory I have on the creation of the Imperatosuchus. This monster was created by Dr. Wu somewhere on Isla Nublar. He wanted to create an apex predator capable of being the dominant predator of a swamp on the island, where he would then enclose the crocodilian in the swamp and study its behavior. He combined crocodilian DNA with the DNA of many different swamp animals, including salamanders, frogs, and even some stegosaurid DNA. The result was a mutated crocodilian with gray scales and spikes running down its back. While studying the specimen, Dr. Wu noticed that the creature spent most of its time surrounded by algae and moss, and it would roll around in it to cover itself. Over time, Dr. Wu began to notice some dead birds all over the exhibit. They didn't show any signs of being bitten, so Dr. Wu did some further investigating and came to a shocking discovery. A bird would perch on top of the Imperatosuchus for a few seconds before flying away. About 5 minutes later, Wu noticed that the bird was showing signs of infection on its feet. The infection worsened and spread all over the bird's body. After about 10 minutes, it died, intriguing the scientist. Dr. Wu decided to take the experiment a step further by adding something larger to the enclosure. After several failed attempts, he finally got a normal crocodile to survive long enough to touch the Imperatosuchus. Making contact also caused the crocodilian to receive infection. However, it spread at a much slower rate. Dr. Wu concluded that it was the Imperatosuchus's scales that caused creatures to become infected if it were to touch the scales. The smaller the creature was, the faster the infection would spread. Wu then snuck into the enclosure while it was sleeping and extracted some of its DNA to try and make an antidote for the infection. He had to admit that this experiment was a very impressive one, and he wanted to do some further research before showing it to the park.